Welcome in everyone. So today's video is going to be a bit heavy. For those who are unaware, Beaplays was recently fired from the Dress to Impress team. Now most people are under the impression that Bea was fired due to her unprofessional behavior following the Lady Gaga meet and greet. And I'm sure this is one of the reasons. However, based on the timeline of events, it seems that Beaplays was fired for a much darker reason. In the announcement sent by Emoye back on 8/25, it says, after taking the necessary time to properly investigate recent concerns internally, we have determined that the appropriate decision is to let Bea go from the Dress to Impress team. We take the allegations very seriously, and I want to make that clear. While the announcement doesn't elaborate as to what type of allegations were made, it's been a huge conversation all over social media. The Beaplay situation goes beyond clickbaiting, toxic behavior, and controversial apologies. Beaplays has been accused of being a minor. Now before I continue, for legal purposes, I have to say that this is all alleged. While I personally choose to believe the victim and I encourage others to support and listen to victims, based on my knowledge, Bea has not been found guilty of any of this in the court of law and she has not addressed the allegations at this time. With that being said, in the court of public opinion, many people have decided to no longer associate with Bea or support her. There have also been a lot of people in both the Royale High and Dress to Impress community coming forward about their experiences with Beaplays. And it's honestly so sad to see how many people were mistreated and intimidated throughout the years. Now with these allegations coming to light, Bea was swiftly fired as the DTI community manager and her doll code has been replaced with a Lana doll. And her Royale High badge has become inactive. By the way, there have been rumors going around that Bea is trying to become the new community manager for Grow a Garden. This has now been debunked, so don't worry y'all, Grow a Garden is safe. I'm going to split the video up into several different sections since there's a lot to get into. Trigger warning for discussions of uncomfortable topics regarding and child exploitation. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, please do not send hate or harass anyone mentioned in this video. And before we continue, I just want to go ahead and address something real quick. Recently, there's been a lot of transphobia in the community and it's unacceptable. Those types of comments are hurtful to the transgender community and it's unfair to judge a whole group of people based on one person's actions. The moment you start being transphobic, anything you had to say is invalidated. So please think before you post. With that being said, let's go ahead and start off with the first section. I know the majority of people watching this video are familiar with who Beaplays is, but just so we're all on the same page, I'm going to give a brief summary of Bea and her career as a content creator. Beaplays, who is also known as Basically Bea, is an English YouTuber and Twitch streamer. She is a former member of the Yogscast, which is a group of YouTubers that play and film Minecraft and other multiplayer games together. Bea would also join different UHCs, which are also known as ultra hardcore. This is a difficult game mode where Minecraft players experience a modified version of hardcore mode with no natural health regeneration. Eventually, Bea organized her first UHC where she invited different people to join. One of the people who joined goes by the name Galaxies18, who was also known as Bea's best friend. I know this sounds irrelevant, but this information becomes important later on in the video. Also, there are a lot of people who are unaware of this, but Beaplays is trans. She actively speaks out about being trans and has made videos discussing her transition and experiences as a trans woman. After a while of making Minecraft content, Bea started to expand to different games, one of these games being Royale High. Eventually, her content would be noticed by the Royale High community and she would become a part of the Crowned Royalty program. And in 2023, Bea announced that she's officially working with Royale High as a community manager. And with that, let's go ahead and move on to the next section. Now in this section, I'm going to go over some of the drama and controversies surrounding Bea and the Royal High community, and later we'll talk about Dress to Impress. Now the reason I want to add these sections is for two reasons. First, I feel it's important to lay out a clear timeline so people understand how everything blew up. And two, there have been a lot of different people affected by Bea's behavior. Whether they felt intimidated, manipulated, or belittled, I feel like it's still important to bring light to these stories. Currently in this part of the video, Beaplays has become the official community manager for Royal High. Based on a video Bea posted, her role was to handle things related to the Crown Royalty program, story contests, badge applications, pretty much anything related to the community, and giving advice and support to the social media team here and there. Now it seems like this role became very demanding over time, especially with Royal High delaying updates and not communicating properly with the community. Players would come to Bea and ask her questions regarding the game even though she didn't always have the answers. Eventually, some people would take out their anger on her because they were upset with the Royal High team. And unfortunately, there were people who would make transphobic comments at her and would go out of their way to harass her. Now there are some people in the Royal High community who do not like Bea because of her identity. However, that's not the majority of the community. The reason why a lot of players did not like Beaplays is because she would clickbait her videos non-stop. Since I wasn't really involved with the community during that time, I'm going to play a small clip from a creator named I Don't Know Rants, which explains the type of clickbait she would do.
And has been recently called out for clickbaiting her titles, especially the new Royale High campus update and concept videos, which have been quite repetitive. This video title says that the Royale High devs have officially announced the new school's release date, but if you watch till the end, you'd realize that it is just clickbait, and that the devs only said that the school is almost finished, no actual release date.
Now the conversation got really big, and a lot of Royal High creators started to make videos talking about this, and Beaplays did not like that. Under a video titled "Why Are People Hating on Beaplays" by a YouTuber named Charlotte, Beaplays commented saying, "I don't think it's as big of a deal as people act like it is. I make all sorts of content, tea/news, concepts, trolling videos, and more. I really think people should spend their energy on much more important things like war, world hunger, homophobia, and other really important things that are happening in the world instead. Ultimately, the people who complain probably don't like my content anyway and probably should just not watch it in general. I don't want to keep spending my life changing who I am for a group of people who already don't like me and probably never will. People who aren't in the adult world with real jobs supporting their families have no idea of the sacrifices and changes people have to make as adults in order to make sure they can pay their bills." I only read the paragraphs that stood out to me, but the comment is way longer. I'll put it on the screen if y'all want to read it. Now Bea did address the situation in a video called "The Truth," where she talks about the amount of hate she was getting from people online and how people were making the clickbait situation a big deal for no reason. She also talks about a specific creator who made a video about her and how she reached out to the person requesting that they have a private conversation. Bea also says in her truth video that if the creator can make a video talking about her, then she can make a video talking about that creator.
And I messaged that person. I decided to go to one of their live streams while they were live, and I asked them if we could talk. I guess that means it's okay if I make a video about you then too, because they said, and I quote, "I can make a video about whomever or whatever I want." So I said, I guess it's okay if I make a video about you too then. By that logic, genuine question, no hate. Because if I were to make a video about somebody, people would say it's not appropriate because I'm a big YouTuber, because it would mean my audience would all go and attack that person.
Now this specific statement right here, while it isn't a direct threat, in my personal opinion, I interpret this as an intimidation tactic. Beaplays then shows messages of her asking the creator to take their video down. Now Bea tried to censor the creator's name in the video, but she or whoever edited it did not do a good job, because you can easily figure out who it is. This creator's name is Jelly Bean Machine, and they recently posted 2 videos telling their side of the story and how Bea manipulated them into deleting the clickbait video, and also how they were harassed and cyberbullied by Beaplays fanbase. All of this happened when Jelly Bean Machine was 13 years old. If y'all want the full story, I recommend watching Jelly Bean Machine's video over on their channel. But honestly, I don't understand why someone would go out of their way to send hate to a child. As a YouTuber, I understand that you do need to make your titles and thumbnails in a way that make people want to click on them. But if you're a good creator and you have confidence in the content you make, you don't need to do this. Now, aside from the clickbait issue, going after a 13-year-old because they made a video about you is crazy. B literally says in her truth video that the people who do this are children who don't understand adults who need to pay bills and have responsibilities. So with that logic, why would you allow yourself to be so affected by this that you target someone? Even though B might have tried not to reveal the person's identity at the beginning, as the video went on, it became easier to identify the person. At one point, she almost says the person's name. Jellybean stated that B did say their name, but I might have missed it. My point is, this is one of those first situations where someone says B used their platform to intimidate others, allegedly. Now, even though B said in her video that she hated her job, she continued to be the manager for Royale High, I believe, until after the Call Me Haley situation happened back in February of 2024, and then a new opportunity arose. And with that being said, let's move on to the next section. In September of 2024, different developers spoke out against the owner of Dress to Impress, Gigi. Due to all the backlash, Gigi stepped away from DTI and put her head developer Zach in charge until further notice. Then on October 5th, Beaplays was hired as the community manager. Now at the beginning, everything seemed great. However, I do remember seeing some Royale High players say they didn't like how Beaplays left Royale High to go to Dress to Impress. But anyways, the Dress to Impress team was trying really hard to move forward from the controversy and keep players excited for new updates. However, in 2025, things started to take a turn. Over the past couple of months, we would start to see B a lot more. She would make videos with the Moye talking about things coming to the game and answering community questions. She would also be the main person sending announcements to the community regarding updates, changes to the game, addressing controversies, etc. Now, one of the first red flags that hinted at there being some issues behind the scenes with the DTI team started when a video by Daniela was posted on June 23rd. Daniela is a Roblox YouTuber who would primarily make DTI videos. In her video, she let her audience know that she has taken a step back from the game. She gave a couple of different reasons as to why she made this decision. However, the main one that pushed her to make this decision was due to an interaction she had with a community manager, which is Beaplays. Here's a clip of what Daniela said.
I noticed that a lot of the people that were getting codes had similar views than me, so I decided to reach out to the community manager and just asked her for like how the process was to getting a code, because obviously I was a Dress to Impress YouTuber and I was bringing a lot of attention to the game, and I got really excited about it, so I decided to reach out for the requirements to get a code, or if I could apply to get a code of some sort of way. And she kind of responded in a really weird way and kind of called me entitled because I felt entitled to a code when I was simply just asking. And that was kind of when I took a turn from Dress to Impress. I feel like the community managers of games should support the creators and definitely not disrespect them in any way. And after that happened, I decided to kind of just stay a lot more quiet, and I kind of started to lose love for the game just because I feel like Dress to Impress, I always saw it as such a fun game, such a welcoming game. However, it just felt like the people who worked for Dress to Impress didn't really recognize any of my hard work, and I work really hard, guys. I try to go above and beyond as much as I can in all of my videos, and I just feel like I wasn't getting the recognition I deserve.
It's really sad to hear that Daniela was mistreated by Beaplays and that she felt discouraged to continue making content. I remember watching this video when it first came out, and I waited to see if the DTI team would respond, but I guess they decided not to address it so it wouldn't get more attention. Now, moving on from that situation, earlier in August, a video went viral where someone showed the new Dress to Impress Lana fashion doll, which included an exclusive code item. This made the community very upset because they were under the impression that none of the DTI toys would have exclusive items. And the reason for this is that B replied to someone who said, "When you say mostly makeup rather than items, does that include custom makeup?" Beaplays replied saying, "You'll have to wait and see, but there won't be any items so that people can't buy them and aren't left out," which was super confusing because in the original post regarding the dolls, it said, "We will not be locking tons of items behind buying the dolls." So yeah, the community was upset with the devs, but mostly angry with B for spreading misinformation. Now, we'll be honest, when I first saw the situation, I didn't see it this way. I just saw it as an honest mistake, but but former and current Royale High players were quick to say that Beaplays always spreads misinformation and that it's a pattern with her. Now the next controversy I already talked about in my previous video, but I'll give a quick rundown of everything that happened since this is the catalyst that led to Bea getting exposed. Dress to Impress recently released an update in collaboration with Lady Gaga. This update was received very well, however, the backlash came from the Lady Gaga meet and greet, which in reality it wasn't a meet and greet, at least not for everyday players. The meet and greet was pretty much a Q&A with Lady Gaga where the devs read questions submitted by the community members, but players pointed out that a lot of the questions were from devs or influencers. Also, only the devs and influencers and the costume contest winners were allowed to be in the same server with Gaga. People also pointed out that 2 out of the 3 winners of the contest were influencers. Now the majority of the community agrees that the event was boring to watch, and a lot of players felt like it was falsely advertised because it wasn't a meet and greet, it was a Q&A. Now what made the situation worse is that Bea sent out an apology that came off as very rude and disrespectful towards players. She later sent out a new apology that was way better, but the damage had already been done. Now Bea says that she's not the only one who wrote that statement and that the devs also helped her write it, but either way the apology was really bad, so it doesn't matter. Someone should have read it and been like, wait, let's not send this, but they didn't. In the original apology, Bea was pretty much blaming the community for the entire thing, but the community was quick to point out that one of the reasons they thought the event would be a meet and greet is because of the video that Bea posted.
Tomorrow is the biggest update in Dress to Impress history. Here's everything you need to do now to make sure you are available to meet Gaga in tomorrow's update. To make sure you are available to meet Gaga.
So it was 100% being advertised as a meet and greet, even though that wasn't the case. There have been some back and forth arguments about the decision being made by Lady Gaga's team as well, but I don't know. There's also a clip that went viral of Bea responding to chatters in her stream, calling them miserable.
Read the disclaimer at the bottom of the game, it's pre-made. There is no disclaimer. What you guys just make stuff up as you go along, don't
I
you?
really do.
Some people just hate, people just hate fun. Like you guys just hate
It's
fun.
fine. I'm having a great time.
So miserable.
After all this happened, people started going on social media talking about Beaplays. One specific Twitter account named Revionce started posting all types of screenshots and information coming out against the DTI team and Bea. Now the stuff regarding the dev team honestly deserves its own video, so for now I'm only going to focus on the allegations that came out against Beaplays. And again, Bea has not been found guilty of any wrongdoing, and everything I'm about to talk about is alleged. With that being said, let's move on to the next section. Before we get into the allegations against Beaplays, I want to quickly talk about the age of consent in the UK and in the US. In the UK, the legal age of consent is 16. However, there are exceptions to this rule. For instance, it's illegal for anyone in a position of trust to have a relationship with anyone 17 or under who is in their care. Now in the US, the age of consent varies per state. There's around 30 states that have the age of consent at 16. However, there are still restrictions in place for anyone under the age of 18. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know every little thing regarding consent laws, but I do know some states have something called the Romeo and Juliet laws. This law prevents an already legal relationship between two teens from becoming illegal once one of them turns 16 or 18, but the max age difference is between 3 to 4 years. You're probably wondering why I'm bringing this up in the first place, but trust me, it's relevant to the story. I also have a feeling that if Bea were to respond to any of these allegations, this will possibly be mentioned. With that being said, let's talk about how these allegations came to light. So the Twitter account I mentioned earlier made a post that said, "Urgent update, take this with a grain of salt. A Tumblr page has surfaced of a 20-year-old Bea allegedly dating a 16-year-old fan. The user who sent it to me says that they were instantly banned in the DTI server when they brought it up. And in the post, they included the link to the Tumblr page. The Tumblr page is titled Rant Yogscast. The description of the page is, in short, hashtag Yog drama is perpetuated by the Yogscast. do better. And if y'all remember, at the beginning of the video, we talked about how B used to be a part of Yogg's cast way back in the day. Now, when you scroll down on the Tumblr page, there are several screenshots that show B's inappropriate behavior with a 16-year-old. The screenshots show the face and name of the minor, so I'm going to censor all that. I will also be referring to the minor as Galaxy. I'll go ahead and read all the screenshots shown in the Tumblr post and give context if needed. The first screenshot shows Discord messages from Galaxy back on June 10th of 2019 where he says, "I'm 16. I'm 16 and I just learned what pan is. I'm 16, not 12. 16, I wish I was 18. I'm 16 XD." Now, based on B's birthday, she was 20 years old in 2019. The next set of Discord messages show Galaxy talking to someone in Discord on April 23rd of 2019. Galaxy says, "If you were 16, what is the range of the age you would date somebody?" Anon replied, "Depends. The US views relationships different to the UK, so I'd say 2 years either way. So between 14 and 18. Galaxy says, "Okay, thank you." The next screenshots are from Twitter, where Beaplays replied to something Galaxy said, however, it doesn't show a year. B replied, "I wouldn't be where I am without you. I hated so much about myself before I met you. Your confidence inspires me. I love you." Galaxy replied, "I'm so glad we met. I love you too." B replied, "You're the best thing that ever happened to me." The next screenshot shows B talking in Discord with one other person and Galaxy. B says Blink is not here. We go in public general chats for viewers to join us a few times per week so everyone can get involved. But in the evening, I focus on spending time with my boyfriend and friends and just chilling out. Anon responds, "You have a boyfriend? Congrats." B replies with a smiley emoji. Anon responds, "I didn't know those love messages meant something." Galaxy replies with a heart emoji. Anon responds, "This message is the only reason why I didn't think they meant something." And it shows a screenshot of Galaxy saying, "Oh my god, I'm not straight." The next screenshot shows Galaxy saying, "I love you too, B." And B replies with the heart emoji. Now the next screenshot is disturbing, so brace yourselves. B sent a message on June 23rd of 2019 saying, "Me, here Galaxy, put your tongue in my mouth." Galaxy, slurp noises. I'm sorry y'all, I have to read these messages so y'all can understand the seriousness of the allegations. This message was sent in the same year where we saw Galaxy saying they were 16 years old. The next Discord message is from the same day, June 23rd of 2019. B says, "I don't really remember any dreams unless they're super bad. Also, the area is sort of around where Galaxy is looking to study here, so I wanted to give him some house examples." The next screenshots are from Twitter. B posted a tweet that said, "A hard year. This is the post I've been putting off all year, but I need my thoughts down on paper. I'm so sorry for the low tone of this post, but if I don't put them down, my thoughts will consume me." Galaxy replied, "You've done so much for me and I'm grateful for it all. I'm so glad that I've met you and I can't wait to see you in person." B replied, "This is so sweet. You'll never understand how grateful I am that you're in my life. I will come there. Can't wait for you to come here." So from my understanding, B and Galaxy are talking about Galaxy going over to the UK. Now real quick, under this screenshot, the Tumblr user wrote, "Yes, hello police," not to mention the new YouTube channel they have together, Naughty Fruitcakes, where they are absolutely not PG. I clicked on the hyperlink for the Naughty Fruitcakes Twitter account, but it no longer exists. However, there's channel art that shows B and Galaxy holding fruitcakes. I was able to find the artist's Twitter page where it shows that they made art for B and for Galaxy back in July of 2019. There's also a Discord announcement from B that says, "Good morning, my lovely friends. Mine and Galaxy's channel launches today and we're so excited. If you're down for some non-PG content, please go subscribe." There's also a short clip that was posted on the Tumblr page where Galaxy and B are playing Minecraft. The video is titled, "We played Bed Wars with every block tilted 45 degrees. Here's the short clip.
Wanna make out now?
Excitement. Oh, yeah.
Before you go, don't forget to hit that
Y'all, I've tried so hard to find the full video and the Naughty Fruitcakes channel, but it has been scrubbed. Even so, the small clip and the screenshots we've seen so far are not good. Now, I was curious to know what year this video was posted exactly, and thankfully, there is a screenshot where Beaplays promotes this video on Twitter. We played Bed Wars with every block tilted 45 degrees. We played Bed Wars with one of the ugliest packs going, the 45 degrees challenge with Galaxy. This tweet was made on July 25th of 2019, and based on what we know, Galaxy stated he was 16 years old. On the Tumblr page, an anon asked, "Can you email that B evidence to Lewis?" Seriously, it's something that needs to be looked into. The page owner replied, "I'm giving B a day to break up publicly and end Naughty Fruitcakes, and then I'm going to. Only because I have serious doubts that they're doing anything more than threatening aggressively to break the law at the moment." I mean, sure, Lewis could just happen upon this blog right now and save me a step, but you know what? Let's see if for once someone comes clean without being pulled by the throat. I'm not sure in what year the post was made, but I'm guessing it was around the same time Naughty Fruitcake's channel was made. These next screenshots are from B under her Twitter account name Beaplays Roblox. I'm getting some DMs from people being like, "Wait, did Galaxy go to the UK?" And we realized we hadn't actually properly said anything. He has in fact moved in here and he fits in very well. The second tweet says, "I've also had the pleasure of getting to know his lovely family too, and my family loves him. Life's good, me very happy, work life good, big smiles all around." Now you're probably wondering how old Galaxy was when he moved to the UK, or how it even got to this point. These are questions that were left unanswered until August 27th, where Galaxy posted a Google Doc titled "My Experience with Beaplays/Basically B." Another trigger warning, the doc discusses very heavy and sensitive topics. Let's move on to the next section. In this section, I'm going to read the entire doc. If I need to take a moment to give context or explain something, I will. But please listen to Galaxy's entire response or read it for yourself. The link will be in the description. Hi, my name is Blink, also known as Gooligan or Galaxy's 18. For most of you that don't know, I was B's best friend before she moved to mainly creating Roblox content. First off, I want to say that B and I never dated. I'm going to talk about the friendship I had with B. I deleted all of my Gooligan/Galaxy 18 accounts as I thought I would never interact with the communities I was involved with years ago. I joined her Minecraft Discord server on February 18th of 2019. I had actually just turned 16 on that day. She was 20 when I joined. I joined because I was a viewer and I wanted to participate in some of the games she hosted for her community. We got close and I joined her friend group. I never thought that our age difference was weird. Both of us liked playing games with each other and she was a content creator I enjoyed watching. Throughout the time we knew each other, she helped me make a channel so I could start making gaming content. She was always very helpful with everything and she would drop anything to help me. I felt really lucky that she would take time out of her day to help me. She even edited and made thumbnails for me 80% of the time. Our friend group got closer and closer and we would stay up really late and fall asleep in calls together for a couple of months. I eventually stopped doing that, honestly just because I wanted to watch TV and be left alone for a while because I would spend 24/7 on Discord, usually talking to her. I thought nothing of it and didn't think any of it was weird because all of us just chat until we fall asleep. She told me that she likes me more than a friend within only a few months of us knowing each other. I was still 16. I was confused as to why she was telling me that, and she is the first person I told that I was gay. I told her no, that I don't like her like that, and we had to have several conversations like that over our entire friendship. I really don't know what our friend group thought about B and I's relationship. She was very good at making it seem like she was best friends with everyone in our group. This is why I never talked to anyone in our group about her. I recall some of them saying I was ungrateful and rude to her. I absolutely was ungrateful and rude to her, and I do not blame them at all for calling me that. All of the things I achieved was because of her. They never knew what was happening behind closed doors. They spoke up often about how unfair I was to her, and that caused a lot of fights in the group and even caused some people to get kicked out. There was no way that B was kicking me out of the friend group because she was in love with me, so whoever spoke bad about me or had an issue with me got kicked. Just like how she treated her viewers who spoke against her and didn't agree with her. I really think things would have been different with our friend group if everyone knew what was going on. We continue to make content together and play games. I was only making money from Twitch and it wasn't much. I was still in school. 90% of the money I got was all from her. She would sub and send bits and even make fake accounts pretending to be people so it looked like I had a bunch of support. I didn't know about the fake accounts for a long time. She would me to some of her friends in our friend group at the time. Keep in mind I was still 16. Here's proof of her me and some random screenshots I found. Deleted user is her because she deleted her Discord account after our friendship ended. Next, the doc shows screenshots of Galaxy and B talking in Discord. B says, "Don't fall back to sleep, you'll miss the recording. I'll show you my blink if you wake up. I'll rub blink blink if you wake back up." The next screenshot shows a scrubbed out image of Galaxy. Anon says, "Look at him." B replies, "I know, it makes me go crazy because he's actually like the most attractive man I've ever seen and I'm not even joking." Anon says, "How does he do that? Literally, ugh." B says, "Genetics, man." Anon says, "He moved. That jawline was fire though." B replies, "Honestly." In another screenshot, it shows the convo between a deleted user and Anon. And as mentioned earlier, the deleted user is allegedly B. B says, "I woke up feeling so bad this morning. Headache, sick, anxiety up the wall. I'm not letting this person make me feel this way. The first thing my mom said was, he's 16, what are they on? Even if you were dating, that's your business. Tell me where they live and I'll sort it." Anon says, "I love your mom so much, honestly." Bless her, but the thing is they're American, right? Isn't their legal age 18? So they see Galaxy as a minor when he's not. And just to interject real quick, this person is wrong. Anyone under the age of 18 in America is a minor. B replied saying, "In Galaxy State, it's 16 for consent, so same as here." Anon said, "F it." B replied, "In some states, it's 16, and in one of them, it's 14. Another set of screenshots show the deleted user sending photos of Galaxy on December 4th of 2019 through Discord. The deleted user, or B, says, "When he's bigger than you expected, when he's way bigger than you can take." The next screenshots show a message of B saying, "Clarification, we're leaving the group with blank because we're done with her." It cuts off a bit, but the next line says, "Also, Galaxy is about to send me a blank pic so I can see if he has blank. How's your night? Or is he gonna be a blank?" The next screenshots is from July 17th of 2019. Am I ridiculous for having a constant fear inside me that Galaxy would get closer to his cousins and in real life friends and slowly replace me? I feel so emotional when he's not here right now. I feel so empty inside, and I know it's really unhealthy for me to feel this way, but I just love him so much that I'm paranoid about him leaving. You're the only one who really sees what we're like for long periods. Do you think he feels the same for me as I feel about our friendship? And the last screenshot is from April 20th of 2021. B says, "I don't mind if he wants to come here and we're roommates, but I need my life to stop being all about him. But how do I do that when I feel the same about him as I always have, and that's why I let him control everything I do, even if he doesn't know he is." After that, Galaxy continues his story. "I scribbled out the pictures of me as I feel it's unnecessary to show. I also scribbled out some names that were mentioned. They are not the ones choosing to talk about it, I am. She knew I wanted more money and she used it to her advantage. She was around me often and I got used to it. I thought the things she said were just funny, stupid stuff most of the time. We were joking around one night and I said I wouldn't send a blank picture. Eventually, I sent her the picture and she was completely okay with it and asked for more. She offered me money, so of course I agreed because I wanted it to better my setup for content creation. There were multiple videos/pictures sent and I received thousands of dollars. That is not an over-exaggeration at all. The most expensive thing I can think of are my Razer laptop, Razer keyboard, Razer mouse, and a plane ticket to the UK. That's not including the several hundreds of subs she sent me and bits on Twitch. She would also PayPal me money too. I was okay with it at the time, but I definitely regret it now that I'm older and I can really see what was happening. When I was 18, I eventually went to the UK and lived with her for almost 5 months. May 17th of 2021 through September 30th of 2021. I stopped streaming within 3 months of me being there, I believe. When I got there, the entire dynamic changed. Within the first week of me being there, she was already trying to have a relationship with me after I asked her before I left America if she still felt the same way and she told me no. I was barely making a payout on Twitch, which was $100 at the time. Lots of my viewers who were supporting me just left. Her own fake accounts. There was no need for her to send me money because I was there. That's all she ever wanted. I remember very well her offering me money if she could do some things to me. We did that for a while and I'm embarrassed and ashamed to admit it. She took me on shopping sprees and everything, but it wasn't out of the goodness of her heart. When we would go out to drink, she would always go to the bar and order mine for me. I never thought anything of it just because she would pay for everything because that's just how it was, but it was also easier that way. I found out after several nights out that she was ordering me doubles. I never asked for that. Her family even told her to stop. One night we got really drunk and she kept trying to do things to me, though I did not want to. When I told her I wanted to come home, it was like pulling teeth to get her to help me. COVID was still a thing and it was making it a little complicated for me to come back. It also didn't help that I refused to tell my family what was going on. I got myself into this mess and I was going to figure it out. For the first time, I felt trapped and it was so hard trying to get home because of her. When I got back to America, I tried my best to move on from the last few years I wasted, but I couldn't. I eventually messaged her to talk. I didn't want to talk to her about everything at the time, and I was trying to keep the peace. I wanted to keep the peace just because I never wanted to be on her bad side. Still to this day, I don't want to be on her bad side. We went a while with no contact, but eventually I messaged her again. I sent her a huge message explaining every single thing I could think about. It took me literal days to type up everything that kept me up at night for months. Of course, she just apologized and was passive aggressive about it all. She didn't even acknowledge most of the stuff I sent her. I felt like I wasted my time, but I was hoping I would feel better after confronting her. It helped temporarily. I am still amazed at how well she is at manipulating and gaslighting people to get things she wants. She made me feel absolutely crazy. Because of her, I was severely depressed for a long time. She truly did not like any of her viewers. She constantly talked about them and how annoying and stupid they were. She had this perfect image of who she wanted to be seen as, but she messed it up majorly with the DTI announcement she made with some of the other evidence and others sharing. After everything ended, it took me a while to come to terms with everything that happened. I never thought about talking about this because I felt like it didn't matter and I just wanted to ignore it all. She was growing a lot and I didn't want it to look like I was clout chasing. I also just wanted to figure my life out and be left alone. I'm saying all of this now because more people need to know what she's capable of and what she has done. I'm still extremely nervous to put all this out there just because I know how she actually is. With that being said, I do not want anybody to send her threats or anything of the sort. I'm hoping I can finally let all of this go now. And that's the end of the doc. B has yet to respond to these allegations. However, her former editor came out with a doc where it shows screenshots of conversations B had with them after everything started to blow up. With that, let's go ahead and move on to the next section. At the beginning of the doc, the editor introduces themselves as Evan and stated that they would edit for Beaplays. The editor gave a disclaimer saying they're Indonesian, so English isn't their first language. So if anything in the doc is worded wrong, they apologize in advance. The full doc will also be linked in the description in case anyone wants to read it. Editing me here. Rev Yonsei shared the link to this doc, however, they made a statement below saying, just so everyone is aware, be wary of these people coming from B's server. There's a reason why they work with and defend people like B. In the spaces, they discuss this Evan person having a questionable and problematic past. So take everything with a grain of salt. Evan states that they met B in 2022 when they were editing for some other creators. Now a lot of the doc is talking about different experiences Evan had with B. Now the part that I want to talk about is the section that's titled The Betrayal on Elizabeth Street. On August 22nd, B sent Evan a message saying, "Are you online right now?" Evan replies, "Yes, why?" B says, "I want to record short posts later today about tomorrow's update if you'd like to edit it." This short being the "do this fast before tomorrow's update if you want to meet Lady Gaga," which we all know caused a lot of backlash. The next screenshots show Evan saying, "I'm sorry B, really sorry for you B." B says, "Thank you, sorry for this." Evan says, "This is indeed okay, no problemo." B says, "Sadly, I don't think people would drop this for a while." Evan says, "But yeah, you need to take action to change as a person and you need to change your mindset as a team leader to regain their trust back. And I know people will have their share of controversies as you do with me in the past, but it's up to us to change." B replied, "For sure. For the time being, I plan to just take some time away to focus on myself. Thanks for your advice and I hope you're well." The next screenshots are from Evan empathizing with B and giving words of encouragement. However, during this time, Evan is unaware of the allegations. In the following set of screenshots, Evan is aware of the allegations. Evan sends a message to B saying, "Hey B, if you don't make a clarification, if you don't make a doc clarifying your actions, you will know what happens next. I'm going full John Wick. This is what you asked for because heavy is my crown. If you don't respond by 5 hours, I'll make a post on DTI Reddit and Twitter talking you because you kids. I'm pissed at you. How dare you betray me? Heavy is my crown. 3 years, bro. Just realized it's over for you." B finally replied saying, "Evan, are you okay?" Evan says, "Are the allegations true? Are they true? Oh my god, man." B says, "No, I assumed you already knew that from talking yesterday where I told you they weren't true. The investigation that happened with them was dropped after my school that I worked at found the allegations to be false. I am going to be working with a lawyer to make sure that I can make a proper statement and share the evidence to prove that they are false once we finish collecting everything we need." Evan says, "Yeah, thanks. You need to make a clarification ASAP." B says, "I'm aware. I'm working with people to try to do it as soon as possible. I want to make sure things are clarified properly." Evan says, "Yeah, you better. I'm not mad. That was me after I found out on Twitter these allegations. I was mad. Hearing those news makes me insane." B replied, "I don't blame you for being mad. I do wish you had waited for me to reply before threatening me, but I understand the allegations are serious and I understand why you would feel upset." Evan then says, "Okay, then why the hell would you treat the people at DTI like?" B says, "Sadly, right now people are twisting things up too. Half of what's being spread around didn't happen. I was always really kind to people at DTI, but I wasn't the one who was in charge. All of my job was just me doing as I was told. Because DTI is scared, they push for me to take the entire blame as they can try to shift away from them, even though that's not how it worked. I was never in charge. For example, the statement everyone hates me for writing, I didn't even write myself. Other members of the staff wrote it too, and several people approved it and told me to post it. Yet only I'm being attacked for it because I'm the scapegoat. As I said, I'm working with law enforcement to ensure these things are properly clarified and I handle this right away. I'm not saying I'm completely innocent, that I've never made any mistakes such as making dumb jokes I should have never made, but I never had a relationship with the people they're claiming I did. And when I worked with DTI, I always try to do the right thing for our staff. Them saying I told them we don't care about feedback channels, for example, isn't true. I was told we didn't want to make one. I was just a messenger, yet I'm being blamed for all of it. Later in the doc, she says, my lawyer feels the bomb has already gone off and we need to make sure everything is sorted out properly before I say anything so we don't make it worse. You should never respond hastily or too quickly to anything if you haven't had a chance to properly consider what you'll say, because often it can make it worse. B later says, I think for right now, most people just want me to disappear and never come back. But I don't want to make any hasty decisions before I've had time to calm down, because the last few days have been really difficult. She later says, after I've spoken out, I do still think I will stop making content and move away from the internet. Social media just isn't for me. I don't have a thick enough skin, but I am grateful for your support. Evan replies, that is sad. B replies, it is. I will miss making content for sure, but it's just so hard. I know you know how I feel because of things like Discord. Being online can be so tough sometimes. It's been ruining my mental health for many years. And on the last screenshot, B says, I think if I ever come back to YouTube, I wouldn't want to be Beaplays anymore. I think I'd want to start over somewhere else. We will see. So originally, when the allegations were brought to light, all the information that was coming out was from a third party. So people were very skeptical about the whole situation. I feel like now that Galaxy has responded, I personally feel like people should listen and believe what is being said. If you don't, or you're skeptical, I can't change that. But always try to put yourself in someone else's shoes. If you were hurt by someone and you shared your story, how would you feel if everyone around you said you were lying and didn't believe you? With that, let's move on to the last section where I'll give my final thoughts. I want to start off by saying I'm so sorry to everyone who was hurt and mistreated by B. And I'm so sorry, Galaxy, that you went through all of this at such a young age. I hope you're able to heal from this tragic experience, and I hope you're able to live a peaceful life. You're incredible and brave. Thank you for sharing your story. I believe everything that Galaxy said in his doc, and I find it unacceptable and manipulative for B to try and write these messages off as jokes based on what she said in messages between her and her editor. One thing that I absolutely hate is a gaslighter. I read through all the screenshots and docs, and all I saw was an alleged inappropriate friendship between a minor and an adult. My prediction for B's statement is that she's going to talk about the age of consent laws and use that as a defense. She also stated that these allegations were disproven in the past, which again, if we're talking about legality, the age of consent in the UK is 16. I can't say whether B broke any laws since I'm not a lawyer, nor am I familiar with the UK laws. But in the US, even if the age of consent is 16 in some states, morally speaking, a 20-year-old having an inappropriate friendship with a 16-year-old is disgusting and wrong. Not only that, again, there is Romeo and Juliet laws here in the US. B was allegedly already an adult while Galaxy was not. It doesn't matter if they dated or not, there's no reason you should speak to a minor like this, or speaking to other people about a minor in this way. Based on all the evidence, all I saw was an adult becoming incredibly attached to a minor, and the minor unfortunately became dependent on the adult. I do want to quickly give an in-depth description of what means. Based on Wikipedia, is the action or behavior used to establish an emotional connection with a vulnerable person, generally a minor under the age of consent, and sometimes the victim's family, to lower their inhibitions of the objective of abuse. It can occur in various settings, including online, in person, and through other means of communication. Children who are may experience mental health issues including anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress, and thoughts. I understand that it's hard to believe your favorite creator would do something like this. And again, for legal purposes, these are allegations. However, these types of allegations happen often with creators, and it's so sad and disgusting. And most of the time, what these creators do is run away. They don't address anything. They leave for a few months, maybe even a year, and then come back like nothing happened. Or they find a way to twist the narrative to their favor and pin the blame on someone else. else. I don't know if B will ever respond to any of the allegations, and I'm not sure what to expect if she does, but I want to go ahead and finish this video off by saying please stay safe online. If you ever feel like someone's making you uncomfortable or pushing you to do things, please tell a trusted adult. When you're young, it's hard to understand the things that are being said to you or done to you, and you can't really grasp the severity until you're older. So I always encourage my younger viewers to please talk to someone you trust that will listen, not only to protect yourself from further harm, but to prevent others from being harmed as well. With that being said, thank you for watching and stay safe.